Yeah.
Welcome into another edition of the Soft Verbal Podcast presented by the College Corner. I'm Neal McCready, Trey Berry with me here as well on the live stream, and we'll also have this up in podcast form. In fact, you're probably listening to this in podcast form, so welcome. It is Monday, February the 1st, 2021, which means it's 2 days until National Signing Day, the second National Signing Day, I should say. So we'll talk about Ole Miss. We'll talk about Tywone Malone yet again, one final preseason time, if you will. And then on Wednesday, we'll come back. We'll do something short Wednesday or Thursday, just sort of recapping what did or did not happen. Whoa, Zach sent me on a ride right there. With Tywone Malone, we'll also talk a little bit about some 2022 guys and whatever else might come up here on the big show. So first, before we get started, I'm going to tell you about the College Corner. It's your one-stop Rebel shop. 2 locations in the Jackson area. One's in Ridgeland. It's next to Fleet Feet. The other is in Flowood. It's next to Half Shell. If you don't live in Jackson, it's not a problem. You can visit the College Corner at collegecornerstore.com. Plus, you can find them on Facebook and Instagram. Whether you're tailgating in Oxford or homegating with friends and family, the College Corner has you covered for game day. They have the largest selection of Rebel gear in central Mississippi. Again, collegecornerstore.com. I'm coming to you from the Clark Ford Studios. Clark Ford's in Amory, Mississippi. 662-257-1900. Call that number. Ask for Corey Clark. Tell Corey what Ford product you're looking for. He'll send you a quote within 15 minutes in business hours. Right to the bottom line. No hassle, no haggle. You get your quote. The rest is completely up to you. 662-257-1900. Zach, how are you?
Neal, doing well. It was an eventful morning as it is dissipated at this point, but it's maybe like a 1/4 inch of snow / slush. So not nearly as bad as I would encounter it in my younger days when I lived in Memphis, when any sign of the white stuff falling from the sky and people just completely lose their mind and don't know how to drive. Pretty normal on the way to school this morning. But yeah, we're good.
Okay. Yeah, I was on the interstate yesterday. I'm blown away. And I know this is going to be my old man moment, okay? And if you don't, if you're watching live, you'll be able to know what I'm talking about. If you're listening, you're going to have to use your imagination, though. If you drive on the interstate, you won't have to use it much because you'll know exactly what I'm talking about. I'm surprised at the number of people who drive on the interstate like this with their phone right out in front of them. It's insane. I mean, you're going 80 miles an hour in a giant hunk of metal around other hunks of metal.
Yeah.
You're not watching your mirrors at all because you're watching your phone. You're so into their phone, and they might be scrolling or they might be watching, which sometimes makes me wonder if they're streaming something. Like watching a show on the it makes me so nervous. And
it's
This
They
one
didn't
guy,
prepare us for this when I went through driving school.
This-
Talk about defensive driving.
yeah, this one guy entering the interstate. So he's just now coming onto the interstate on an entrance ramp, and he's got his phone right here, left hand, had his hand on the wheel. And I'm like, so you don't even, and so I'm in the right lane, and I need to move over to the left, but there's a truck on my left, and so I can't move over. I can't move over, and so I have to speed up to get out of the way so he can move in, because he's paying zero attention. He's not going to yield or anything. He's just coming in, because I guess whatever he's reading or watching or whatever has his attention divided at the very least. So I think had I not noticed that, hey, this guy's not paying attention, he would have just come right into me and potentially moved me into the truck. And damn. And then here's what really gets me before we move on. When you get the guy's attention and you kind of yell at him, like look at him like, what is your deal? They get mad at you. He ought to be going, hey, man, thank you. Thank you. You saved me a big trouble right there. Thank you. Appreciate you, old dude. Instead, they glare at you like, you want some? And it's like, no, I mean, dude, put the phone down.
I would like to not die, thank you.
Just put the phone down. Anyway, all right, so here we go. It's it's 5.5 hours, and I saw it at least 10 times yesterday, just in a 5.5 hour drive.
Yeah.
Just, it's like, hey, I'd kind of like to make it home today if it's possible.
Yeah, it's pretty remarkable the lack of awareness that people have when they do that.
And hey, it's male, female, white, black, Hispanic. It doesn't matter what age.
No, it's everybody.
It's everybody. I mean, you'll see older people. It used to be like, oh, it's just those crazy kids. No, it's people in their 40s and 50s on their phone the whole time. Again, and there's no stereotype. You can't just go, oh, it's the kids, or it's whatever. It's everybody. It's across the board. I really noticed it yesterday. It was wild.
Yeah, as soon as the Apple iOS update that allowed you to put on the do not disturb when you were, because somehow the phone can track your movement to where you're in a car, and it'll send people the do not disturb automated response. As soon as that became a thing, I was like, boom, I'm enabling that feature.
Yeah.
Because I try to be as good as I can about not texting and driving, but it's hard when you get a text and you see who it's from, or you're expecting something and you want to know what it is. Like, nope, I put that feature on so I don't get any text or anything when I'm driving. And then the hands-free, talking on the phone is great, because you still see people, if you're tuned in on the stream right now, you see people driving like this.
Yeah.
Talking on the phone. It's like, okay, like enable Bluetooth or wait. Use two hands, please. 10 and 2.
And then while we're doing the Festivus for the rest of us, I will save everyone a trouble. I'm going to do a public service right now. So Caroline was with me, and as we left for Fayetteville on Wednesday, I said, let's find a podcast. And so she's going through some different podcast options, and the one she came across was called Paper Ghost. And it sounded really good. Whoever wrote the lead for it, the teaser for it, did a great job of writing, because we were both like, oh, that sounds really good. And I listened to all 10 episodes, because I was about 4 episodes in by the time I realized this might not go anywhere. 10 episodes of Paper Ghost. No conclusion, no nothing. The story does not get advanced from the beginning to the end. Save yourself that headache, because I was really kind of starting to get pissed off by about the 9th one. I was like, is there anything going to happen? Is this mystery going to get solved? It's about these girls in the New England area in the 70s that go missing year after.
So it's true crime.
True crime, yeah, and
okay.
None of it really gets resolved at all. And anyway,
I like that.
The guy's name is M. William Phelps, but whenever he calls him, last thing, I promise we're gonna get to recruiting. He calls him and he goes, "Hey, this is M. William Phelps. Call me Matthew." So I guess it's Matthew William Phelps. But why would you say M. William if you're going to call yourself Matthew? Why not Matthew W. Phelps? Call me Matthew. Wouldn't that be simpler?
Yeah.
That should have been tip number one, that this thing's going nowhere.
So,
anyway, all right. So Tywone Malone, he can technically, as we tape this on Monday, February the 1st, it's 10:43 a.m. Central Standard Time. Could technically sign something in about, I don't know, what, 44 hours? Do you anticipate that he's going to sign quickly? What's the plan for Wednesday?
So the plan is 11 a.m. 11 a.m. Central Standard Time on, I believe, CBS Sports Network.
Okay.
So you can live stream that. I believe it actually is a television channel as well. Which I don't know if you. A quick aside, those Geico commercials about how to not be your dad are tremendous. And the one where he's like, they're television shows, not programs. That one kills me. But yeah, so it's 11 a.m. Look, Tywone is pretty low key. He doesn't talk too much. Maybe he immediately announces at 11. If I had to guess, with streaming, there are obviously some challenges and there can be some technical difficulties, but it'll be around 11 a.m. Right now, expect it to be Ole Miss. I put it up on the site. Adam Gorney and Mike Farrell did a fact or fiction. They both said fact, he will sign with Ole Miss. Adam Friedman put his future cast in for Ole Miss after speaking with Tywone after his visit. And Ole Miss had a Zoom call with him. New defensive line coach Randall Joyner was on there as well. I think that that kind of, solidified standing. I don't know if it was going to really affect his final decision, but I think that it was a little bit more comforting to know who the coach is when I get there, who's going to be, teaching me the next 3 to 4 years. I expect it to be Ole Miss. I think you're in the same boat. Talked with Chase last night when we did the baseball podcast. That'll be up today. He expects the same thing. I don't think there was any changes over the weekend. It kind of goes back and forth, Neal. I don't know if you've heard anything or any different, but it's been going back and forth with who's second. I'd heard A&M was out a week and a half ago. Florida State was making a charge. Mike Martin Jr. has done a really nice job recruiting him on the baseball side of things. Odell Haggins has been doing this forever, the D-line coach at Florida State. He's done a really nice job. But then Elijah Robinson and A&M kind of made a surge. It's basically they're fighting over second place at this point. I think barring some shock or anything crazy, I expect him to announce for Ole Miss on Wednesday.
Yeah, I mean, I've been out of pocket a little bit the last few days. I certainly haven't worked on Tywone Malone. I've done coaching stuff.
Where you been?
I've done coaching stuff because I woke up, was it on Saturday, and everybody says the whole Ole Miss coaching staff was leaving, and I'm like, that doesn't sound right, but I've learned in this business to pick up the phone and call people, and so I called some people, and I texted some people, and had some conversations, and came away with maybe just possibly people were overreacting a little bit. I know that's shocking, but that's kind of the conclusion that I drew. And as we sit here on Monday, it appears that at least I was right, that nothing was imminent.
Twitter watch was in full effect Saturday morning, Neal.
Yeah, I know.
And I called, or no, I text you and I was like, hey, I know you're busy, but I'll keep an eye out. And then you called me and you were like, I'm already working it.
Yeah.
People were, freaking out about somebody's Twitter bio.
Well, I wake up and my email's got like 10 things of, is Jeff Lebby gone? I'm like, if it happened in the middle of the night, I slept through it. So let me look into it.
Hey, I will say this. This is impressive. UCF added a 4-star commit over the weekend without an AD or a head coach. You want to talk about unprecedented times, Neal? That's impressive.
That is impressive.
So,
and what was interesting was that Heupel, who's now at Tennessee, was trying to recruit him.
Yeah.
Unsuccessfully.
Yeah. Kid from Hawaii, going a long way to Orlando.
Yeah, maybe he likes Disney.
Could be. Who could say?
I don't know.
I don't know if I've ever seen that, actually, in all the years I've done this. That's pretty. There's been some interim, but.
Yeah, I mean, it happens sometimes with like legacy type kids. Kid that grew up a Tennessee fan, and his dad played at Tennessee, and his grandfather played at Tennessee, so of course he's going to play at Tennessee. Those kids are pretty rare, but if you told me it was going to happen, I would tell you that's how it would happen.
When you grow up in Honolulu, all you want to do is go to the bounce house. Anyway, all right.
All right, so Chris, we'll touch this because we'll do some of this on the Oxford Exxon podcast. I'll be solo for part of it. Chase and Zach taped about an hour, so you'll see that later today as well. He says someone mentioned on Twitter that Kevin Smith had removed Ole Miss coach from his profile. See, I don't. Someone told me that it was never on his profile, but like I fool with my profile all the time just to screw around. And if you told me coaches screwed with their profiles sometimes to have fun, I'd buy it. Or if you told me that coaches never had something on their profiles and the fans just assumed that they did, I'd buy that too.
Yeah.
So, here's the bottom line I can tell you before we get going on anything else. Kevin Smith isn't leaving Ole Miss for UCF for a lateral move. He's not.
Doesn't make sense.
Jeff Lebby's not leaving Ole Miss to go to UCF unless it's to be the head coach, at which point he would absolutely take the job, and anyone in the world would advise him to take the job. Because look at the last two coaches who were at UCF. They are now the head coaches at the University of Nebraska and the University of Nebraska East. So they're both there. I mean, you would be a fool. You would be a fool not to take that job if you're Jeff Lebby. And so obviously if that job is offered to him, he will take it. Would Randy Clement go with him? I think he'd have to be offered the coordinator job. If he were offered the coordinator job or some sort of an assistant head coach / offensive line coach, blah, 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 well, then, yeah, he'd have to think about it, right? And would Kevin Smith take it if he were offered the offensive coordinator job? Well, of course, because that would be a promotion. But he's not leaving to go be the running backs coach. And so people do this thing where they just assume that these things are going to happen. Well, here's the other part about UCF. As of this moment, they don't have an athletics director. So you don't know how the hire is going to be done. As of this moment, there's a ton of outside interest in that job from some people that I think UCF is intrigued by, including Gus Malzahn. And 2 days before signing day, they're probably going to wait, let this thing play out, not do anything that's going to get everybody all worked up, and then they'll go from there. And if you're Jeff Lebby, who has been at UCF, if you're Jeff Lebby and the opportunity to be the head coach at UCF comes up, well, of course you take the job. I mean, it's a no-brainer. Yeah. The people are, well, it's loyalty schmoyalty. In this league, in this business, no. But he's, the same. He's not leaving now. And as one person who knows Jeff Lebby pretty well said, it would be a lot harder now to leave. Doesn't mean he wouldn't, but they've started their off-season program. He's around the kids now. These are kids that he convinced to stay in Matt Corral, and one that he played a massive role in recruiting in Luke Altmaier. They're with him now. The kids are there inside the building every day. So it gets harder to leave when you have to look kids in the eye and say you're leaving, as opposed to in the off season when kids go home for the break after a bowl game or whatever, and you get a job offer, and it's easier to make a phone call than it is to look someone in the eye. But we'll see. As of Saturday afternoon, which was the last time I talked to anybody about it, I didn't think anything was particularly imminent.
Yeah, and I had talked to story that's up on the site. I had talked to Matt Jones, the Jackson Prep running back that's walking on at Ole Miss. Which, quick little note here, Neal. It's pretty impressive what this staff has been able to do in terms of walk-on additions. Some pretty high-profile dudes walking on. Now, Matt Jones was relatively, unknown for, lack of a better term. He had some lower-level offers, but, he had full scholarship offers that he turned down to walk on at Ole Miss. And when I talked to him on the phone, I was kind of surprised with how much he mentioned Kevin Smith. And, this was on Saturday when things were moving and shaking. And, he talked about, talking with Kevin Smith, meeting him in person, discussing, his recruitment with Kevin Smith. And I was kind of like, okay, sure, a coach can be, they're professional salesmen. His job is to sell Matt Jones on the program and to come be a running back for him. But just the way he was talking about it, it sounded like someone who was sticking around and going to be in Oxford for another year at least. And Levy, nobody would fault him for taking the job at Central Florida. Absolutely not. And Kevin Smith, another guy. Now lateral move, a little bit of a head scratcher. Maybe he gets some kind of title. But as you and I talked about on Saturday, I mean, Kevin Smith is basically UCF's Deuce McAllister. Like, he is their guy. Like, he is a legend down there. They call him 24K, with all the, ran for 2,400 yards. He lit college football on fire, and then he went and played for the Lions, had, more than a cup of coffee in the NFL, was a good back for the Lions. And, I mean, he's a big deal down there. They really love that guy. So nobody would fault them for taking that opportunity to go be at probably the best G6 job out there. I'm of the opinion it's a little bit tougher these days because of what Dan Mullen's doing at Florida and what Manny Diaz is doing at Miami. A little bit tougher to recruit, but they are a consistent power in the American Athletic Conference. And like you said, the upward trajectory of coaches that have success there is the history is pretty loud. You can go there, you can win, and you can move up. I think it's probably best, and this is my opinion, like you said, with the timing of everything and with the players there, I think Levy is going to probably stick around, see this through. I mean, he's got arguably the most explosive offense, for the most part, all coming back. You lose Elijah Moore and you lose Kenny Yeboah, but you've got your trigger guy, Matt Corral. You've got running backs, Snoop Connor, Henry Parrish, Jerry Neely. And you've got some incoming talent that is pretty intriguing in terms of playmakers. So it would make sense for him to take the job, but it also makes a ton of sense for him to stay.
Yeah. Look, if they offer him the job's going to pay more than he's making right now, and he'll take it. So if he's offered the head coaching job at UCF, he's going to take it. That's my fairly educated opinion. Will he get the job? I don't know. I'm not connected at UCF enough to know, but they have a lot of interest in the job, and they're going to talk to people. I mean, I think the list of people that are interested in that job includes Gus Malzahn. It includes Tom Herman. It reportedly includes Jamie Chadwell. It includes a variety of different people. So they're going to see what the deal is, and then before anybody takes that job, he is going to want to know, who the athletic director is, what the lay of the land is. But you're right. The other part of the Lebby thing, as we move to recruiting, the other part of this, although this all involves recruiting, the other part of the Lebby thing is that, look, Jeff Lebby's not crazy. He can pull up Wikipedia the same way we can. Lane Kiffin doesn't typically stay anywhere for a long period of time. He never has.
Yeah, I mean,
that's not to say that he won't stay at Ole Miss forever. You and I've expressed my opinion on this. If you give me the over/under on 23 months. Lane Kiffin at Ole Miss, I go under. I don't even think about it. I go under. And if you told me that Ole Miss was winning when that happened, and that, I mean, if I paint you a scenario that says within the next 2 years, okay? If I paint you a scenario within the next 2 years, Lane Kiffin gets either an NFL head coaching job or the UCLA head coaching job, okay? And that Ole Miss, for that to happen, Ole Miss is having to win minimum 9 and 3 levels. You with me so far?
Mm-hmm.
If I tell you that means that in all likelihood, given the state of the current roster, that means that the offense is tearing it up.
Mm-hmm.
If that happens, the leading candidate to replace Lane Kiffin at Ole Miss, beyond a shadow of a doubt, is Jeff Lebby.
Yeah. Now,
does that mean Jeff Lebby definitely gets the job? Of course not. Would I make him the even money favorite? Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
So and
easily gets the first interview with Keith Carter.
Well, I mean, that's kind of my point. Is he knows that too. So again, he's got access to the internet in there. I think the Manning Center has Wi-Fi, so he knows the score. He knows the deal.
Yeah.
So, now if you told me that Lane Kiffin is still at Ole Miss in 2024, I would tell you that Jeff Lebby isn't, because at some point he wants to go get his gig. He wants to be a head coach. He doesn't want to be a 7-year offensive coordinator somewhere. This isn't a who's the guy at Clemson?
Brent Venables.
Yeah, thank you. This isn't a Brent Venables kind of a deal. This is a guy who's very connected, wants to be a head coach, and I think will be a head coach. There's no question about it.
Mm-hmm.
So But sometimes I think people have this tendency to just kind of panic a little bit. Ole Miss brought Lane Kiffin in to invigorate the program, to get people excited, to breathe life into it, to make it relevant. And so far, he's done those things. I don't think anybody at Ole Miss brought Lane Kiffin in going, okay, this is our guy for the next 10 years. And then if he ends up being your guy for 10 years, great. But I think most people know that's not likely. His family's in California. His kids are in California, et cetera, et cetera. At some point, he's probably going, in my opinion, going to want to go west, or he's going to want to do the NFL thing, or whatever. So we'll see. But right now he's at Ole Miss, and right now Jeff Lebby's at Ole Miss, and that leads me into this, which is people talking about quarterback recruiting. We had a question earlier. Trying to see if I can find it. Okay, here it is. As I Lay Dying says, where does Ole Miss turn at 2022 for quarterback? Sorry if covered already. Now that Ty Simpson appears headed to Clemson, and I don't know who Martial is, to Florida State.
Nico Martial from out in Arizona.
Oh, okay.
The younger brother, I think it was Santino Martial, who was a very controversial signee at A&M. He basically was the whistleblower on all the Bradley Del Pavito stuff.
Oh, yeah, I remember that.
Yeah.
It's been a minute since that happened.
Yeah.
Speaking of vagabond coaches, Bradley Del Pavito, man, just all over the place.
Hey, got a gig, baby.
Oh, still coaching. Still making his money.
Yeah. Nico was kind of the worst kept secret in terms of going to Florida State. He had been a heavy Seminole lean, made it official over the weekend. Ty Simpson, I think he's going to Clemson. Tennessee was kind of the early favorite, but then everything blew up. I don't know if he's really wanting to go there. Neal, you're a little more well-sourced on this than me. I'd be interested to see if anybody's willing to hire Ty's dad, Jason Simpson, the head coach at UT Martin. I don't know if that would be something that Clemson is either angling for or even thinking about. I don't know if maybe Josh Heupel would look into that to try to keep him in Tennessee.
I think the Tennessee thing, the problem with the Tennessee thing right now is that it's just so unknown. It's so volatile as to what is going to be
such a risk
is going to happen inside that program. And it'd be one thing if the NCAA had passed the one-time no-penalty transfer thing that we all assume is going to get passed.
Yeah.
But, I had a junior varsity football coach named Donnie Bartlett who used to always say, these are words of wisdom, Zach, when you assume you make an ass out of you and me.
It's a great quote.
Donnie Bartlett. But look, I think it's going to pass. But if you assume it's going to pass and then it doesn't pass and you go someplace, now you lose a year of eligibility.
Right.
It's a different deal. So that does change the game a little bit for a Ty Simpson. He doesn't want to go someplace potentially red shirt and then he says, oh, this doesn't work. And that provision never passed. And all of a sudden
Right.
And the Tennessee thing is such a gamble right now because people talk about 50 level 1 violations. 50.
Yeah.
I mean, that's
almost had 7.
Something like that. That's got a Houston Nutt press conference written all over it. 50. 50 is a lot. I mean, so you're gonna hit them with a multi-year bowl ban. You're gonna take away 10 scholarships a year. You're gonna absolutely hamstring the program for 6-7 years. Well, if you're an incoming freshman, that's your entire tenure. How much of that do you want? I have heard a lot about Jason Simpson joining a staff. But look, his dad's a head coach at UT Martin, has been there for a while, has been successful. I don't know that Jason Simpson is desperate to take a gig someplace just to coach his kids. So I don't know. Yeah. I've never gotten the impression that would be the absolute move that would be made there.
Kind of reminds me of the Sally O'Malley skit from SNL. I'm 50 years old. I don't know if anybody remembers that.
I don't remember that.
Yeah, it's what's her name? It's Anna Gasteyer. She's doing like a bit where she's like an old fitness instructor. But anyway, yeah, I think it's Clemson because Clemson has been known to be very forthright and honest with recruits, where it's we got a spot for you. If you want it, it's yours. If not, we're moving on. I think that's where all signs point to Clemson, because he's basically came out of nowhere and was like, "Hey, I'm committing on Monday, or committing soon."
That does have a Clemson 13th feel to it, and there aren't too many programs that can do that, but he can.
No, yeah, I mean, they do the whole, like, if you're committed to somewhere else, you can't come visit here. They're very Dabo has the ability to do that now because they win so much. So
probably aren't but 3 programs in the country that can pull that off. Clemson, Alabama, and probably Ohio State can do that. That's about it.
Yeah. Did you see that somebody recorded Nick Saban's Zoom?
Yeah. Did you watch that? It was actually kind of interesting.
I haven't watched it yet, but it's pretty ballsy to do that.
It had to piss Saban off. But the thing that struck me was Nick Saban just kind of sitting back going, all right, so here's what we do. All right, this is what we do. Everything was about NFL. The kid asked a question about post, football, and Saban humored him and said, "That's a good question," and said, "Here's what we do. We've got this program that our former players," and he talked about what their off seasons are like with guys like Julio Jones standing around, and he talked about. He did do the whole deal. It was really interesting because the one thing I've always seen fans do is say, why would so-and-so want to go to Alabama? He won't play there until year 3. If he goes to wherever, he'd play right away. And Saban said, I know, people say that to you, so let me tell you why that's a bad argument. And then he just shot holes in it. He talked about, if you're at Alabama, you're a left tackle, you're going up against an NFL defensive end every single day in practice. You're far more prepared. And then he gave stats about how they play freshmen. It was compelling stuff. And he basically said, here's what we do. We put everybody in the NFL and we win. We win more than anybody else, and we put more people in the NFL than anybody else. And, it was pretty good. I watched it. They've hit the point where recruiting for them is pretty easy.
Yeah. Talk about, things that are easy. I will say this. It'll be very easy to pick somewhere that you're going to want to go eat and hang out in Oxford. Lamar Yard opening soon. In Oxford, 10,000 square foot indoor space and 3/4 of an acre outdoor space. You're going to have a full stage, live music, large indoor and outdoor projector. You're going to have 3 bars, a children's playground, parking on site, family and pet friendly. That's Lamar Yard in Oxford. Nickel and the rest of the guys over there are super excited about getting things started as soon as they open up. They've been pressing hard, working hard through the pandemic and trying to get things ready to go for baseball season. Going to be limited attendance at Swayze Field, but you'll be able to go to Lamar Yard and you'll be able to watch baseball. They'll have tons of TVs. They'll have tons of seating, indoor and outdoor, full restaurant. That's something that they're really stressing. It's a full-on menu. It's not just a place to go grab some finger food. Full restaurant, full actual entrees. That's Lamar Yard in Oxford. Be on the lookout. Opening soon in Oxford, Mississippi. I do also want to remind you, we are also brought to you by Grind Central Fitness in Olive Branch. Former Ole Miss football player Nathan Vanderberg has started a state-of-the-art gym in Olive Branch. One-on-one personal training, group classes, and nutrition coaching. He's got guys in there working out. Somebody like DeMarcus Lodge, former Ole Miss Rebel, getting tons of workouts in there as he starts to prepare to try to make an NFL roster again. So you got guys like that there, very serious about their nutrition, very serious about their fitness. But then you've also just got, the laid-back group class. You can go in, work out with other people, and you can also go in and get some one-on-one personal training. That's Grind Central Fitness in Olive Branch, 9150 Pigeon Roost Road, Olive Branch. Call them at 901-409-2864.
There's a place in Fayetteville I got to work out when I was up there for the weekend. It was like one of those big, massive mega gyms. That place freaking rocked, man. I got to tell you, if I ever move to Fayetteville, and I don't anticipate moving to Fayetteville, but if I do, I'm going to Fitness One. That place rocks. Got everything. I hated leaving just for that reason alone. Had everything. Super clean.
When you find a place like that that's got everything.
Oh, and the treadmills were new and they were soft. They didn't beat up your knees. It was great. Anyway, speaking of great, Daniel Barfield Wealth Management, they're great. Founded in 2000, they've been serving individuals and businesses in the Oxford and North Mississippi area for more than 2 decades. They carry both CFP and CPA designations, affiliated with the Advisors Resource Council, a registered investment advisory firm with offices in Oxford, New Orleans, Dallas, and the surrounding areas. Daniel Barfield and his staff offer comprehensive financial planning, including investment management, estate and tax planning, insurance planning, and business retirement plans. 662-236-6454 or visit his site, barfieldwealthmanagement.com, to learn how he can help you. We're also brought to you by Bill E's Small Batch Bacon. You need to get you some of this, Zach. This stuff is phenomenal. If you like bacon, and I know you do, we all do, everybody likes bacon. Billy has mastered, and I do mean mastered, the art of bacon. He spent 3 decades in the restaurant and hospitality business, and bacon's his passion. He uses bacon selected from the finest hogs, hand-turned every 2 hours in small batches, rubbed with nitrate-free pink curing salt and brown sugar molasses, and serenaded by local singers and songwriters behind the stage at Old 27 Grill, Stitz Restaurant and Grocery in Fairhope, Alabama. Bill E. has perfected the bacon curing process. It takes 8 days to perfectly cure bacon, not 7, not 9, 8. So try Billy's Bacon. You may never eat supermarket bacon again. Go to BillEsBacon.com. That's BILLES bacon.com and try it today. Order 5 pounds or more and you get a free Billy's Bacon hat. And we're brought to you by Alpha Specialties, located at 1670 Highway 80 in Pearl, Mississippi. It's your trailer-specific professional. If you want to haul it, they can call it. Alpha is the premium trailer dealership in Mississippi. They've got Load Trail. It's the premium brand trailer, the highest quality equipment, utility dump, and gooseneck trailer on the market today. They also have Hallmark cargo trailers, one of the most quality cargo trailers on the market, perfect for hauling goods to markets and shows, ATVs to deer camps, and much more. They also have spare tires and wheels starting at just $100. For podcast listeners, Alpha has a full selection of trailer parts and accessories, hitches, winches, straps, and more. They also do all types of truck accessories. Listeners can get 10% off a yearly trailer service and inspection at Alpha's full-service shop. They can repair all types of trailers, concession, horse, utility, enclosed, and more. 601-932-9798 or check them out at alphaofms.com. That's alphaofms.com. Please tell them that you heard about Alpha on the MPW network, MPW digital network of podcasts, I should say. All right, so we've covered quarterbacks, at least to a degree. We've covered Tywone Malone. I think you're expecting a little bit of potentially some news involving some 2022 guys making some early decisions.
Yeah, and I'll say this. So I didn't get to it because we talked about Ty Simpson, but if there's a name out there as far as 2022 quarterbacks go, Gavin Wimsatt, the 4-star guy out of Owensboro, Kentucky. He released a top schools list, and Ole Miss made it. I believe it was Rivals Josh Helmholt talked to him and said that he is very, very intrigued by Lane Kiffin and Jeff Lebby in the offense. So that's a name to know if and when Simpson's name is off the board and he goes to Clemson. As far as the 2022 guys, it seems like the one that is starting to get a ton of buzz right now in Ole Miss's favor is the 4-star top 50 prospect from Lexington, Mississippi, Holmes County High School, Kamari Rogers, former LSU commit. Terrell Buckley, we talked about him a little bit on the last show. Terrell Buckley has done a nice job recruiting him. Chris Partridge has chipped in here and there, but it seems that all signs are pointing towards him committing to Ole Miss possibly sooner rather than later. I put my future cast in after talking with a few people. Talked to some people down in Louisiana a little bit. Seems like he's possibly moved on from LSU being in consideration. Miami is very heavy into it. DeMarcus Van Dyke, the defensive backs coach at Miami, is recruiting him really hard. So it seems like it's a...
Is he related to Dick Van Dyke?
He might be.
Okay.
Can neither deny nor confirm, but him and Buckley are going head-to-head here. Sam Spiegelman, Rivals national recruiting analyst that covers everywhere, Texas, Louisiana. He put his FutureCast in for Rogers to pick Ole Miss. So not sure if it's imminent, but it seems that Ole Miss is in the lead right now. And I mean, number 44 overall prospect, number 1 guy in the state of Mississippi. That would be huge, and not just getting a commitment from him, but getting it from him early in the cycle to start building that class, which right now has 2 in-state guys. Larry Simmons committed to Ole Miss last week, big get out of Moss Point, big physical receiver, and then the other commit, Marquez Dortch out of George County, another receiver, DB type athlete. So getting some in-state guys early, and yeah, I think Rogers is probably going to be the next one.
I got a couple of questions on Twitter. I didn't solicit questions, but I sent the stream up, and so a couple of people have asked questions. One is the mystery tight end transfer a done deal? All right, so here's the thing. He's no longer a mystery. He was never a mystery. I didn't have his name on the record. I know that doesn't mean a lot to people. I didn't have his name on the record. I had his name, but it wasn't on the record. And so I didn't write it. His name is Trey Berry. He's at Jacksonville State. Is it a done deal? No, because he can't sign until he graduates, and he graduates in May. So he can't enroll at Ole Miss until late May, early June. So no, it's not a done deal. I haven't heard anything to indicate that he has changed his plans, but he can't be a grad transfer until he graduates, which is why they call them grad transfers, because they've already graduated. So he has to graduate in May, and then he can transfer as a grad transfer and play immediately. So that's where that is. So there's your answer to that. People do love the word mystery, and to prove it to you, Tyler Keith asked on Twitter, any chance of a surprise signing? People love surprises, man. They love these mystery. They love the idea of a mystery recruit.
Yeah, somebody that I would say is out there.
Okay.
And now just going to get lambasted for this when he doesn't sign with Ole Miss. But
okay,
part of the gig.
Whisper it.
Okay.
Because that makes it more mysterious that way.
Keon Coleman, the two-sport guy.
Keon Coleman.
Yeah, sorry.
Are you
Keon
serious?
Coleman. Two-sport athlete out of, I believe I'm saying this right. As a Louisiana guy, you can tell me. Is it Opelousas Catholic?
Opelousas.
Opelousas Catholic. Really good basketball player. I mean, Ole Miss has an affinity for signing guys that are averaging over 30 points a game in basketball right now. But he was a Kansas commit early on.
If only they could get somebody to score 30 points a game.
Yeah. But Kansas, Les Miles, Emmett Jones was his primary recruiter. They got him early, which is kind of a shock because Oklahoma had offered him and was pushing pretty hard for him. Decommitted in October, and he kind of opened things back up. He released like a top 9. He released like 2 different top schools lists because he had schools for football and schools for basketball, but I don't get that because you want to play both. So maybe I haven't heard his name in a while. I think if you had to make me pick, I think he might be going to Michigan State. That's kind of the recent buzz with him via FutureCast, which, man, you want to talk about somebody that's struggling. Tom Izzo and company, they're in jeopardy of missing the tournament for the first time since 1997.
It's almost like when the NCAA starts watching you that things change. Kansas says hello.
Oh, come on now. Like, don't. Tom's just going through some rough times.
It's almost as if that changes the way you recruit.
Could be. LSU seems to be doing okay, but
they're hanging in there.
Yeah. I will say, if you're having a tough time with security, whether that's commercial or residential, this podcast is also brought to you by Protection Unlimited, the Mid-South's leader in commercial and residential alarm security. Wayne Lowry and his team have been serving the greater Memphis area and North Mississippi for 40 plus years and would love to get your business and or family protected today. They offer cutting-edge security for your home or business with video surveillance options and monitoring 24/7, 365. Their total security products include perimeter security, interior motion detection, fire, tamper detection, inside and outside sirens, and wireless signal delivery to their central station for quick, reliable, no-nonsense communication. I personally been a customer for over 5 years now and counting, can speak to their customer service, high-level attention to detail. It is truly second to none. Anytime, anything, we can accidentally trip the alarm. If I let the dogs out, forget to turn the alarm off in the morning, go over there, turn the alarm off. Their central station will call me within a minute, tops. Hey, everything good? Yeah, just, accidentally open the back door. So they will call immediately if your alarm goes off. So you can find them at 9363 Marabella Cove in Cordova, Tennessee. They're open Monday through Friday, 9 a.m. to 5 p.m., or you can reach them via phone at 901-754-6510 or email them at info@protectionunlimited.com for all general inquiries. When you want to protect your family or business, call Protection Unlimited to see how over 40 years of experience and service can keep you and your loved ones safe. Also, want to tell you, Soft Verbal is brought to you by Cherokee Valley Golf Course in Olive Branch. Talked about them before on this show. Big time golf over the weekend. Patrick Reed defied the odds and the rule book to win the Farmers Insurance. But hey, go over to Cherokee Valley Golf Club in Olive Branch. Fun experience for golfers of all skill levels. Wide, plush Zoysia fairways, large championship Bermuda greens. You can book a tee time online. Go over to olivebranchgolf.com. They have a large practice facility, driving range, chipping green. They've got 2 putting greens. A lot of people need to get out there and get the flat stick dialed in. They've got 2 areas where you can go if it's crowded. If you want to socially distant, you can do that. Prime location. They kind of tailor-made everything to where it's just quick and easy access. You get right off the interstate. It's right there, right off Goodman Road. So large selection of hotels, restaurants located nearby. If you're traveling and you want to get a top-of-the-line golf experience, that's at Cherokee Valley Golf Club. So you can call them 662-893-4444 or 901-525-GOLF.
Eric Gilbert transfers from LSU to Florida. He was homesick in Baton Rouge, so he's going to go to Gainesville.
How about that?
Makes sense.
Hey, good food down in Gainesville.
Are you a Gainesville fan?
I spent 4 weeks there for work for a project, and honestly, I've been there before for a game, and I was much younger, so it was just a go there to party, go to a football game. But honestly, the restaurant scene there is actually not bad. They've got some good food. I mean, seafood obviously is going to be top notch because you're down there close to the water. But yeah, they've got some options. I don't hate it.
No, Gainesville's fine. It's fine.
That's like the best word. It's fine.
Yeah, there are multiple places in the SEC that I prefer to Gainesville.
Oh yeah.
Just
I mean, if you're looking for, I don't really know how to put it. I mean, it's Florida. It's fine. You want to talk about, we talked about road hazards at the top of the show. They got a lot of students down there that ride scooters everywhere. I don't know if whoever owns the scooter company down there has a discount for students or some kind of promo code or buy one, get one. But man, and I'm talking like mopeds, not like Razor scooters.
Oh,
they are everywhere.
Oh, wow. Because I was in Fayetteville on Saturday. I noticed a lot of kids were on the Razor scooters. They were kind of the automated Razor scooters.
Oh, like the birds?
I don't know. I'd never seen them
before. The like automated ones, yeah. Yeah, these are like mopeds.
I spent some time Friday watching my my E-Trade account go up and down, up and down, up and down. It was kind of fun. But if you're a little more serious about your retirement plans, I've got an actual retirement plan. I just have a little bit of money that I play with in E-Trade. I'm not a complete idiot. A community leader like me, Zach, would never be a complete idiot. I mean, I'm leading a community. I found out over the weekend. Yeah. I would suggest Jennings Executive Search if you are someone who needs to hire some high-level accounting-type people to your team. Jennings Executive Search specializes in the recruitment of accounting, finance, strategy, corporate development, and data science professionals from the staff to C-level in all industries. Whether you're a small business owner who needs a finance leader, or work in a private equity, or run a team at a Fortune 500 company, John and his recruitment team of former public accountants will simplify the hiring process by presenting you with a short list of only the most qualified candidates. John works on a contingent basis, meaning no hire, no fee, and will in no way interfere with your own recruiting efforts. If you mention rebelgrove.com, John will donate 10% of all top-line revenue to the Ole Miss Athletic Association, earmarked to the sport program of your choosing. To learn more, search for John, it's Jon Jennings, on LinkedIn, or email him at johnjon@jenningsexec.com, or call 404-536-3000. We're also brought to you by Muddy Water Camo. Go to muddywateroutdoors.com and check out all of the stuff there at Muddy Water Camo, including the Tri-Zone heated jacket and vest. They've got hats, all sorts of different camo gear, and all of that at muddywateroutdoors.com. I don't know why it does that. And then we are, if you're a decision maker or an influencer for a middle market-sized business or large corporation, if you're a business owner, CFO, controller, HR professional, or you assist your company with making financial decisions, then you may be aware that property and casualty insurance rates went up dramatically in 2020 and are continuing to rise this year. Hunter Maynard of USI Insurance is a risk management professional who specializes in negotiating between your company and the insurance carrier by working closely with business executives to ensure they have the most effective, cost-efficient property and casualty insurance program possible. If you do not want an insurance company to determine what your business will pay on insurance, there are proactive steps that can be taken that will make your property and casualty risk management program a success. Hunter's an Ole Miss alum, has clients throughout Tennessee, Mississippi, Arkansas, and Alabama. He can be reached at 901-233-4614 or email hunter.maynard, M-A-Y-N-A-R-D, at usi.com. Let's see. So we talked about Kamari Rogers. Any other 2022 guys that you think anything could happen imminently? The other thing that I thought was interesting, by the way, was in Saban's little speech to the kid, he talked about April 15th being the open-up date. Which tells me that Saban is among those pressuring the NCAA to come off some of this dead period stuff, which frankly, as more and more people get vaccinated, the dead period begins to make less sense.
If anybody can do it, it's him.
Well,
probably
in all seriousness,
guy in college football.
Well, he is for sure. In all seriousness, you do want him being vocal.
Yeah, it makes sense to. It doesn't need to go to June. More and more people are getting vaccinated. I mean, the number that I talked to with somebody that would know that's in the District of Columbia, the number that was thrown out, I guess 200 million hopefully vaccinated by the summer. It's getting more and more available. It's ready and available for people. I've personally signed up here in Nashville, so whenever I get the call, I'll go ahead and get it done. I know tons of people in Mississippi are getting it because it is readily available there. Yeah, I mean, April 15th, that makes tons of sense. You could easily get it, get that dead period moved up. It doesn't need to go to June. It's at this point, I mean, I get it. It's a lot of moving parts go into this decision, but I think as the calendar turns to spring and starts moving towards summer, I think things are going to look better and better. As of right now, it projects to look that way. So definitely need Nick Saban out there advocating for it.
So along those lines, are you expecting anything between now and, say, I don't know, March 15th?
It's kind of hard to say. I mean, there's some names out there that in the state of Mississippi that are national recruits. So maybe they make a decision early. A name that jumps out, Jaheim Otis was in Oxford a couple weeks ago. Maybe he says something early, but that's a recruitment, regardless of what he does, is going to go all the way to December or February whenever he signs. He's going to be, we just talked about Nick Saban. Alabama's going to fight for him. LSU's going to fight for him. Ole Miss is in there. I think that's probably the top three early on. There's a lot of players inside the state. With, I guess, an Ole Miss feel to it, I think you've got, looking at the top 10 here, you've got names out there like Bryson Hurst, the offensive tackle from Gaucher, the two prospects at Germantown High School in Madison, Branson Robinson, Xavier Harris, and then inside linebacker Stone Blanton. We've talked about him. I think that his recruitment's going to focus more and more on football as he gets into his senior season. He's got some big-time offers, and then Blake Gunner, the tight end out of Madison Central, is another guy that the staff really likes. I'll probably reach out and talk to Blake here maybe this week, maybe next week, to see if he's spoken with John David Baker, his new prospective positions coach, because he was tight with Joe John Finley. I'm sure Baker has already reached out to him. If I had to guess, John David's pretty good at what he does, so I'm sure he's on top of it. But yeah, right now nationally, I think barring a surprise, I think most national guys are going to take their time. A lot of these kids, I talk to them, they want to wait. They want to do in-person stuff, and I can't blame them.
No, I don't blame them at all. I don't blame them a bit.
You want to be able to meet people, put a name to a face, and you want to see a campus for yourself. Zoom stuff can only go so far, but I will tell you this: you talked about playing a little bit with some money, with some stocks. I don't particularly do that outside of DraftKings and BetMGM. That's the only real money playing I do. But if you are looking for any kind of financial planning, financial advice, look no further than Bluff City Advisory Group in Memphis, Tennessee. Offer all kinds of financial services, investment products, and risk management as well. Ben Still, former Ole Miss Rebel, wants to help you get your investments lined up, life insurance, financial planning, and retirement. Give him a call at 901-605-5257. You can also email him, ben@bluffcityadvisorygroup.com. We are also brought to you by the Berry Home Team, part of the Keller Williams Real Estate Outlet. Memphis, I would say longtime Memphis natives, Stacy and Rick Berry, real estate team inside Mississippi Memphis and beyond. They do Mississippi as well. Very passionate about getting you into a new home, whether that's buying or leasing. Unparalleled professionalism in the real estate industry. Like I said, they're all over the place: Memphis, Cordova, Collierville, Germantown, North Mississippi. And because they are part of the Keller Williams team, they can help you elsewhere. If you're in Nashville, if you're in Atlanta, they can refer you to a agent wherever you might be. Stacy and Rick are part of the multi-million-dollar club in the Keller Williams team. Had a great 2020. Despite the shutdown, Neal, real estate was booming in 2020. I don't know if it's because people are sitting at home and not doing much, but they are out looking for homes. So you can contact Stacy and Rick, 901-481-6420 or 901-461-6421. You can also go check out their website, theberryhometeam.kw.com. And then also put it in the thread on the board. You can go check out their Instagram, see all of their closings that they have going on, and you can also find them on LinkedIn as well. That's the Berry Home Team. Rick and Stacy, go talk to them and get in a new home today.
All right, so what we'll plan to do is Wednesday or Thursday, we'll do a short, soft verbal, which kind of recap what happened with this class. We'll start talking about needs for 2022. I can go ahead and tell you the needs are basically across the board. We'll have a better idea what those look like after some grad transfer things kind of happen, and we'll kind of go from there. I'll be back in a little bit this afternoon with today's Oxford Exxon podcast. You'll see more of Zach Berry. He spent almost an hour talking with Chase Parham, Ole Miss baseball. We'll talk at Super Bowl week. There's we'll talk football coaching staff and stuff over the course of this week, and then Ole Miss basketball. I guess we have to continue to talk about it. Ole Miss loses twice last week. Get Tennessee tomorrow night, and Oxford. The Vols are a considerably better basketball team than Ole Miss right now. It'll be monumental task for the Rebels. So we'll start talking about some of those things as well. That will be on the Oxford Exxon podcast a little bit later today. So that does it for this episode of the Soft Verbal Podcast. For Zach Berry, I'm Neal McCready.
I got one more thing, Neal.
Yeah.
I would be remiss if I didn't include it. Just spoke about the Berry home team. Also, last bit here. Podcast also brought to you by Saddle Creek Title, also in Memphis and Germantown. Neal Hanna is looking to provide full-service legal representation for you, closing and title insurance services, so single-family residential purchase, mortgage loan closings, multi-family residential, short sale transactions, all of that and more. SaddleCreekTitle.com. Go talk to Neal and the team there about everything that you would need for your home closing needs. So they're at 756 Ridge Lake Boulevard, Suite 120 in Memphis, Tennessee. You can contact them 901-753-1600. That's Saddle Creek Title in Memphis. Neal Hanna and his team work very close with the Berry home team in all of their closings. So if you are looking to get into that new home, contact the Berry home team. And right after that, pick up the phone and call Saddle Creek Title to get your new home unlocked today.
All right. We'll be back later this week with a wrap-up edition of the Soft Verbal Podcast. Until then, for Zach Berry, I'm Neal McCready. Take care.